But no, to be honest, I think if I look at the highest level of pros, the practices would be the same as with kids. Like I would use the same drills a lot of times as with good youth players, but we would just change the constraints or we would change the loads to make it harder. That's one.
Yeah.
I think the second thing I see with the pros is kind of like they are just amazing at the basics, and I think that's one of the biggest
Well said.
misconceptions that coaches have is we all want to skip the basics because we think the basics are boring. But one, the best players never get bored with doing the basics. And second, the biggest misconception in basketball is that the basics are easy. Nobody's good at the basics. How good are you in your footwork? How good are you in your left hand? How good are you in your ball handling under pressure? How good are you as a passer? Like all of these very simple things or that we think are simple are actually really hard. You can never spend enough time on the basics. And I think that's the biggest thing I see with pros. And secondly, I think a lot of times, or at least the pros who have a long career, like the mindset is different. Like
Yeah.
the character is different. And I think that's probably the biggest indicator also that I've seen to make it as a pro. If you have the right body type, of course, to play basketball at a high level, I think it's just character. Like
Right.
yeah, you will
Right.
come very far with character.
Yeah, that's true, and I hear that a lot. And even just what you said is so true. Just mastering. I mean, if I got $1 for every time I heard the word, the greatest athletes master the basics and they do it
Hmm.
consistently. And what you
Hmm.
said there was so key, and it's something that is overlooked. And when
Yeah.
you're working with these pros, coach, or even just like a high level talented athletes,
Hmm.
especially during the off season, what does a typical workout look like?
I think for me also, the most important thing is I need to be super efficient with my time and with their time. We don't in the off season you don't have a lot of time. So what I would do is I would make a plan up front, maybe like a SWOT analyze where I go over with with the player. And a lot of times we want to get more impact. How do you say it? Like more information. For example, can we get some information from their coaching staff, from their agent? Everybody can share their opinion, and then we're gonna choose three golden topics. And the three golden topics
Mm,
would be 80% of the time we're going to focus on that stuff. So every workout will be focused on those three topics. And then we would have 1 to 2 silver topics. And silver topics would be like we would switch them and 20% of the time we spend time on that, but maximum 5 things in total. And the golden topics most of the times would be the things where they get paid for to do. So how can we make their superpowers even better? Because a lot of times that's where they get paid for. So for example, I would say a silver topic most of the times would be either something that we can expand or a weakness. But a lot of times a weakness will not be one of the three topics. The only time when a weakness becomes one of the topics is if it's really hurting them in their in their in their time on the court, or that's why they don't get as much minutes. So for example, that could be if you can only go right hand and everybody's figuring that out and they push you left all game and you can't do anything, like okay, then maybe weak hand would be a golden topic. So that would be one. So we have a very clear plan and with the player like this is what we're going to work on in the off season. So he's already very locked in. And then with the practices, I make like a menu. So a menu would be like for every of the 3 to 5 topics that we have, I would write down all the drills that I think would be most beneficial. And then I just every day I choose from the menu based on the intensity that we can go. And my practices a lot of times will be very short, like definitely with high level pros, we don't go longer than 45 minutes. But the intensity would be insane. Like I want to make
yeah,
my
yeah,
practices harder than the game.
right.
So, and I think you can do a lot also in 45 minutes. It's better to have a 45-minute, but we go 100% than have spend a lot of time in the gym and just doing things that just don't translate to the game.